Portland, Oregon, Burnside neighborhood, 2024. On the same street, directly across from each other, stood two comic book stores. On the left, BAT Cave Comics, black facade, yellow Batman logo, window display completely Dark Knight themed. Owner Mike Patterson, 42 years old, a man who had dedicated his life to Batman. On the right, Web-Slinger Comics, red-blue facade, giant spider web pattern on the window, interior filled with Spider-Man collections. Owner Elena Rodriguez, 38 years old, a Spider-Man fan for 15 years. Two stores, on the same street for 3 years, but they had never spoken, they had only competed. Chapter 1. The Rivalry. Mike Patterson opened Batcave Comics every morning at 8 a.m. His first task was to check the window display. Today's display featured Batman Year 1 First Edition, signed, worth $2,500. Then he would look across the street. Web-Slinger Comics was still closed. Mike would smile. Late opening again. But when Elena arrived at 8:30, her first task was to check Mike's window. She saw Batman Year 1 and rolled her eyes. Typical, always Batman. Then she arranged her own window. The Amazing Spider-Man 300 First Venom cover, signed, $3,000. When Mike saw this from the window, he frowned. Competition, okay, game on. This had been going on for 3 years. When Mike ran a sale, Elena would run a bigger sale. When Elena organized a signing event, Mike would bring a famous artist. Mike started selling Batman-themed coffee. Elena sold Spider-Man-themed cookies. The customers were divided. Some would say, I only go to Batcave. Others would say, Web-Slinger is the best. The two store owners had never spoken, just glances from across the street, silent competition. Chapter 2. Mike's Story. Mike Patterson had been abandoned by his father when he was young. He was 8 years old. His mother worked, he was alone. One day at the library, he found a Batman comic, Batman the Dark Knight Returns. That night while reading, he had cried. Bruce Wayne was alone too, but he had become strong. He had turned his fear into power. From that day on, Mike began collecting Batman. High school, college, work life. Batman was with him through every period. At 35, he was tired of work life. He was an accountant. He hated it. One day he decided, I'm going to dedicate my life to what I love. He took all his savings, opened Batcave Comics. The first year was tough, but Portland had a strong Batman community. Slowly it grew. Now it had been 7 years. The store was doing well, but Mike was lonely. Not married, no children. His work was his life, and he hated that Spider-Man store across the street. Chapter 3. Elena's Story. Elena Rodriguez's mother had died of cancer when she was 10 years old. Her father worked hard, working 2 jobs to raise her. Elena had grown up alone. One day her uncle brought her a gift, the Amazing Spider-Man comic book. She read Peter Parker's story, orphan living with Aunt May, taking responsibility. This is me, Elena had thought. Like Peter, she had taken responsibility too. She had helped her father. She had become strong. After finishing college, she found a graphic design job, but her passion was comics. At 34, she received a small inheritance from her grandfather. She risked everything, opened Web-Slinger Comics. The first 2 years were incredibly difficult, but Spider-Man fans were loyal. Slowly a customer base formed. Now it had been 4 years. The store was standing, but the profit margin was low. Elena was still doing freelance design work to keep the store afloat, and she hated that Batman store across the street. He always wins. he always has more customers. Chapter 4, MegaComics is coming. October 2024. Big news came to Portland. MegaComics, America's largest comic book chain, was opening a store in the city, downtown, 5,000 square meters. A huge place. When Mike heard the news, he was concerned but thought, we're different, we have a special community. When Elena heard, she panicked. This will finish us. In November, MegaComics opened. Opening day concert, famous artists signing sessions, 50% discount. Thousands came. The first week, Mike's customer count dropped 30%. Elena's dropped 40%. The second week, Mike's weekly revenue was cut in half. Elena's was even worse. Only 3 customers had come all week. December. Christmas season was normally the most profitable period, but this year was different. Mike looked at the window display. Inside was empty. Not even one customer. He looked across the street. Elena was sitting in her store, her head in her hands. She was empty too. For the first time, he felt sorry for her. Chapter 5. Crisis. January 2025. Rent payment time. Mike looked at his accounts. He had enough money for this month's rent but not next month. If the situation didn't change, he would close in March. He was sitting in the store looking at a Batman comic but not reading, thinking, 7 years, 7 years of effort. Everything was in this store. His life, his savings, his dream. At that moment the door opened. Elena entered. Mike was surprised. They hadn't spoken in 3 years. Now his enemy was in his store. What do you want? Mike asked harshly. Elena looked tired. She had dark circles under her eyes. We need to talk. I have nothing to say to you. Mike, Elena said. Her voice trembled. Please, 5 minutes. Mike paused. There were tears in Elena's eyes. Sit, he said, softening. Chapter 6. Truths. Elena sat. She took a deep breath. I'm going under, she said directly. Last week I only had 2 customers. I can't pay rent this month. Mike looked silently. I'm not different. I'm probably closing next month. Elena looked up. You too? Yes. There was a long silence. For 3 years I competed with you, Elena said. I hated you. I thought I wish you'd leave. Mike said with a bitter smile. Me too. But now I understand, Elena continued. Our real enemy wasn't across the street. Our real enemy is MegaComics. Mike nodded. Giant chains are destroying small businesses. We're just 2 examples. What are we going to do? Elena asked. Mike thought. He'd actually been thinking about it for a long time but hadn't dared to say it. I have an idea, he said slowly, but it's crazy. Tell me. Mike looked at her. Let's merge. Elena was shocked. What? 2 stores, 1 team, Batcave and Web-Slinger together. But we're enemies. We weren't, Mike said. We were rivals, but not anymore. Now we have a common enemy, giant chains. And we can't win alone, but together maybe we can. Elena thought. It was a crazy idea, but was there another choice? How would it work? She asked. We merged the 2 stores, either your place or mine, or we keep both, Batman and Spider-Man together. Shared stock, shared events, shared customer base. But Batman-Spider-Man fans don't like each other. Maybe, Mike said, but maybe we can show them. 2 heroes can be together. DC and Marvel under the same roof. Elena was thinking. Risky, but she had no other chance. 1 condition, she said. We'll be equal partners. 50-50. I'll have a say too. Mike extended his hand. Deal. Elena shook his hand. 2 enemies became partners that day. Chapter 7. Web-Comics is born. End of January. For 2 weeks, Mike and Elena made plans. Decision. They would close Mike's store. It was smaller. They would expand Elena's store. Merge them.
New name, Web Comics, where Gotham meets Queens. Logo, Batman and Spider-Man side by side, fist bumping. Concept, DC and Marvel in peace. Every comic, every character, without prejudice. But money was needed. Renovation, stock, marketing. Mike put in the last of his savings, $15,000. Elena too, $12,000. Not enough, but it was a start. February, crazy work. They merged the two stores, moved all of Mike's Batman collection, painted the walls, half black-yellow, Batman, half red-blue Spider-Man, window display, a giant poster, Batman and Spider-Man shaking hands, text below, Legends Unite. Since Elena was a graphic designer, she created the logo, posters, social media materials. Since Mike knew accounting, he handled finances, inventory management. For the first time they were working like a good team. Chapter 8, Opening Day, March 1, 2025, Saturday. Opening day. Mike and Elena were at the store at 6 a.m. They checked everything one last time. They were ready. Ready? Mike asked. No, Elena said honestly. But let's do it. 10 a.m. They opened the doors. The first customer came, a young man, in his 20s. Hey, he said, I heard you combined Batman and Spider-Man? Yes, Elena said. Wow, the man said. You're literally making history. DC and Marvel in the same place. The second customer came. Then the third, fourth. By noon, 30 customers had come. Old Batcave customers, old Web-Slinger customers, and new people. A woman, in her 40s, came. I love both Batman and Spider-Man, but I could never find them together. I always had to choose. Now they're both here. A child 12 years old came with his father. Dad, look, Batman and Spider-Man aren't fighting. They're friends. That day 85 customers came. Sales $4,200. Mike and Elena couldn't believe it. $4,200 on the first day? Elena said, this is incredible. People want unity. Mike said, there's DC versus Marvel fatigue. We're offering them something different. Peace. Chapter 9, Going Viral. Second week, a customer took a photo of the store and posted it on Reddit. Batman and Spider-Man in the same store in Portland. Web Comics. The post went viral. 50,000 upvotes. Comments. Finally, the DC and Marvel war is ridiculous anyway. This is amazing. I wish it was in my city. We should go support them. Small businesses are struggling. It trended on Twitter, shared on Instagram, videos on TikTok. Within a week, Web Comics became Portland's most talked about store. Third week, the local news channel came. They did an interview. Reporter, how did you come together? I heard you were rivals. Mike, yes, we were rivals for 3 years. But we learned that our real rival is the big chains. For small businesses to survive, we needed to unite. Elena, and we learned that Batman and Spider-Man fans don't actually hate each other. They just never had the opportunity to come together. We gave them that opportunity. The interview aired. More customers came. April. Web Comics was now making steady income. Monthly revenue, $35,000. Rent, salaries, stock, everything was paid. They were now making profit. One day, a man in a suit came. He gave a business card. David Chen, MegaComics regional manager. We want to expand it. We're offering you $250,000. Mike and Elena looked at each other. $150,000 each, life-changing money. We need to think, Mike said. Of course, David said. I'll give you a week. And he left. That night Mike and Elena sat in the store. $250,000. Elena said, for me this is life-saving. I'd pay my debts, maybe buy a house. For me too, Mike said. But, Elena nodded. I know. If MegaComics buys it, they'll change it, make it cold commercial. And what would we do? Work for them? No, Elena said firmly. I want to work for myself. Mike smiled. Me too. They thought for 2 more seconds. Then both said at the same time no. A week later David Chen came back. Decision? He asked. No, Mike said. David was surprised. No, you're rejecting $250,000. Yes, Elena said, because some things are more valuable than money. Independence, passion, community. David nodded. I understand. Well, good luck. And he left. Mike and Elena looked at each other and laughed. We're crazy, Elena said. Yes, Mike said, but it feels good. Spring-summer 2025. That webcomics continued to grow. Every Saturday comic swap meet. Fans bring old comics, trade them. Every Sunday, cosplay Sunday. People dress in costumes, come to the store, take photos. In May they organized the first BatWebCon, mini convention. 500 people came. Local artists, signing events, panels. One day a 10-year-old boy came, Oliver, with his mother. Hello, Oliver said shyly. I love both Batman and Spider-Man. But at school my friends say, you can't love both. Elena crouched down, came to Oliver's eye level. You know, Oliver, we thought the same thing. But we were wrong. You can love both, because they're both great. Mike added, actually, loving both is better, because you learn different things from each. From Batman, courage. From Spider-Man, responsibility. Oliver's eyes sparkled. Really? Really, Elena said. Oliver laughed. Thank you. His mother bought Oliver Batman and Spider-Man comics. As he left, Oliver turned. You're the best store. June evening. The store closed. Mike and Elena were organizing. Mike, Elena said, I want to tell you something. Tell me. For 3 years I hated you. But now you're my best friend. Mike smiled. I was going to say the same thing. Are you serious? Elena said in surprise. Yes. For 3 years I competed with you, but I never really knew you. Now I know you. And you're incredible. Hard-working, creative, strong. Elena's eyes filled. You too. Smart, organized, loyal. They hugged. We almost lost everything, Mike said. But we found each other. Yes, Elena said. And we found Batweb. From that moment on, Mike and Elena weren't just business partners. They were true friends. On weekends they watched movies together, ate together. For the first time, neither of them was alone. March 2026. Batweb Comics' first anniversary. The store was now Portland's most popular comic book store. Monthly revenue, $50,000. They hired 3 employees. They were making expansion plans. Batweb was warm and passionate. They threw an anniversary party. 200 people came. Customers, friends, family. Mike took the stage. They had set up a small stage. A year ago I was going under. My store was closing, and I had an enemy, the Spider-Man store across the street. Everyone laughed, but that enemy saved me. Elena, you gave me hope. You showed me the power of being together. Elena took the stage, and Mike, you gave me courage. A year ago I was going under too, but when you said let's merge, you took a risk. You trusted me. Together, Batweb isn't just a store. It's a community, a family, and all of you are part of this family. Thank you. Applause. A customer shouted, Batman or Spider-Man? Mike and Elena laughed and shouted together. Both. August 2026. Shocking news. MegaComics Portland store is closing. Company statement. Due to low profit margin. When Mike and Elena heard the news they were sad but not surprised. Giant chains can't win everywhere, Elena said. In some places small and passionate wins, but they didn't shout victory. Instead, they offered jobs to the MegaComics employees. 3 people had lost their jobs. 2 accepted. We're not enemies, Mike said. We're community. November 2026. One day a young woman came to the store, about 25 years old. Hello, she said. I'm Sarah. I'm thinking of opening a comic book store too, in Seattle, but I'm scared. How will I compete with the big chains? Mike and Elena looked at each other. "Sit," Elena said. "We'll tell you a story." For an hour they told Sarah everything. The competition, MegaComics, the merger, the success. Sarah took notes, asked questions. "It can be hard alone," Mike said, "but find a partner. Together you're stronger." And Elena added, "Follow your passion. Don't chase money. Build community. People feel passion." Sarah stood up. "Thank you. You've inspired me." 3 months later, Sarah opened her store, Emerald City Comics, in Seattle, Batman and Wonder Woman themed, and she found a partner, Marcus, a Superman-themed store owner. They merged, and they succeeded. Bawag, 2027, March, Batweb Comics' 2nd anniversary. Mike is now 44 years old, happy for the first time in his life, loves his work, has a best friend. Elena is 40 years old, debt-free, successful, strong. They're sitting together in the store, customers coming, going, laughter, conversations. In the window, a giant poster, Batman and Spider-Man shoulder to shoulder. Text below, "Alone we are strong, together we are unstoppable." Mike raised his glass. "A toast?" Elena raised her glass. "A toast. What shall we drink to?" Elena smiled. "To enemies, because sometimes your best friends were once your enemies." Mike laughed. "And to superheroes, because they taught us true power is in being together." Glasses clinked. Outside, the Portland sun was shining. 2 stores, now 1 store. 2 enemies, now 1 team. And the story continued, because true heroes never fight alone. The end. This story reminds us, while competition is sometimes necessary, cooperation is always more powerful. When we face great challenges, our old enemies can become our best allies. And sometimes, when 2 different worlds, Batman's Gotham and Spider-Man's New York, come together, magic happens. Mike and Elena showed us. Instead of fighting for ego, work for the common good. And instead of being alone, be a team. And most importantly, share your passion, because shared passion is twice as powerful. Every day millions of small businesses struggle against giant chains. Some lose, but some, like Mike and Elena, find new ways. They unite, they get stronger, and they win. If you face a challenge, look around. Maybe there's an enemy, but actually they could be an ally. Maybe you too can create Batweb, because the best things in life come from unexpected collaborations.